I think I can safely say that this is the first real blockbuster that we've had, whether it is on a streaming platform or in the theater, because we haven't had one of those yet, up until now. We are here today to talk about the new Space Sweepers movie that has just arrived on Netflix, and it is a lot to unpack. And it introduces a lot of our characters, what they're going through, how they got to where they are, so we get a bit of backstory for each. And it does seem that a man named Tejo is our actual main character, so we are supposed to be more connected to him. And that is because of the daughter that he had lost years back, and he misplaced her one day because of some big event that was not his fault, and ever since then he's been trying to play catch up. And that is the conflict of his moral dilemma that gets him and his crew members into trouble, and also himself as well with other space sweepers. Following up with what I just said, there is a lot of back and forth, not just between the space sweepers and other space sweepers, but between the space sweepers and the higher up organizations that are putting their crew into debt. Each character kind of has, like I said, a backstory that pits them as to why they are there and why they are the crew that they are. And so they are constantly trying to fix those mistakes. And so when they find this girl that is on their ship, they then start to make bargains with not only the other space sweepers, but with the space agencies as well that are coming after them. The action and the storytelling are actually pretty well balanced, and that I respected a lot. And it never allowed the film to get confusing for me whatsoever. And they do go into flashback territory, but again, it's pretty consistent throughout, so it doesn't just show up at a specific part and then is never shown again or never continued with the start of the flashbacks. Like, it's a continuous other storyline that we are having to keep up with throughout all of the action and through all of the storytelling. The film moves very, very quickly, and so whenever they are going from one location to the next, it is an acceptable decision because there's always danger around the corner. And not only that, we actually get to see all of space, all of this not lore, but all of the setting up of what this new Eden is supposed to look like, that our main villain Richard Armitage plays as. He is kind of like the main leader and overall villain. Like I said, there are space sweepers that are other villains as well, but those are more smaller and on a more catastrophic level. Richard Armitage's character is kind of like the villain of everybody who still lives on Earth and everybody who lives in space, because you do have both of those sides to save and to hopefully make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to. And so, with that being said, all the exploration is definitely well earned, and it doesn't feel like they are just running out of ideas or running out of places to go, because most of the turmoil that they get themselves in is because of them. And I also really loved that about this crew. They have faults of their own, and it does show in their work, not just within their own personal lives. This is a hard-working crew. They are always trying to get another mission, another job, things like that. And so whenever this little girl comes along, there is a different way of how they start to want to make their money. And you slowly start to see this transition once they get to know the little girl a bit more. And it's funny because we are supposed to sympathize more with Tejo's character, and he's kind of the most resistant to everything that is going on in his own ship. The whole film we spend trying to find Tejo's daughter, who is again missing in space. But the thing about this is that with the little girl that is also on their ship currently, it kind of rebuilds the life that he wanted to have with his own adopted daughter as well. And because he couldn't have that, and this has now surfaced unexpectedly, it's kind of his own escape as well. But not only his own, it's everybody's. And so she kind of becomes their savior in a way. And even though she also gives them the most troubles, it's very much worth it in the end. The film also utilizes all of its characters, and so none of them are wasted, even the non-human ones. And there are two on this ship, which is the girl and this other robot as well that kind of helps them fight when they're in space battles and things like that. The only real issue that I have with this movie is that all of the conflict seems a bit too surface level. And even though it does have that human side and the robotic side of things, I do feel like thanks to where they are at being in the ship for the most of the film, even though they do go off and they do visit other areas of space, they are growing as a family because of what they are going through. And if they didn't, if they split up and if they split off, then it really wouldn't be more about the family aspect, and it would be more about what each individual is trying to get out of this experience. And there are times where you feel like the characters should do that, or they could accomplish this a lot quicker if they did. But you realize that that would be too easy. Overall, you do spend a lot of time with each character, and you do kind of start to feel like you are a part of their family as well. And you start to decide who would you rather be with, or who would you rather have a conversation with. And I thought that that was what the majority of the film should be. And I wasn't expecting anything going into this film, but what I came out with it was learning a lot about a world, a futuristic world that I would love to revisit in the future, even farther in the future. And that is thanks to the crew themselves. The whole film is about the crew, but it's also about Taeho as our main character. And you do find out whether or not they succeed in their mission or if they fail in their mission, both for the entire crew and for what Taeho sets out to do from the start. So now it's time for the ratings. On Letterboxd, I did give the film a 3.5, and my percentage out of 100, I'm going to go really high actually, and I'm going to give the film a 63% out of 100. And overall, I do recommend it. It is a fun time. It's not to be taken super seriously, but does have both the emotional and human side to things, and there's a lot of stakes. So I think if a film can wrap up all of those point of views and seem satisfied with it, then I'm satisfied as well. Even though it's not my favorite blockbuster or favorite type of genre either. But overall, not a waste of time, so that's a plus. I will see you guys in the next video.